This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, November the 13th, is a legend in the Negro Leagues. He was a star in the Negro Leagues. He worked as a scout and became the first African American coach, not manager, a coach in Major League Baseball. He was a popular speaker and interview subject to renew widespread interest in the Negro Leagues and help the Negro Leagues have a baseball museum in Kansas City, Missouri. But don't tell that former Oakland A's guy, Glenn Kuiper, that. Regardless, he was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2022 as an executive. Long time coming. He was featured in the documentary series Baseball by Ken Burns. He was an icon. His name was Buck O'Neil. Buck O'Neil was born November 13th, 1911, in Carabel, Florida. He was initially denied the opportunity to attend high school because of the racial segregation still going on. And Florida had 4 high schools specifically for African Americans. Anyway, O'Neil would work the celery fields in Sarasota, and then would move to Jacksonville with relatives and had 2 years of college courses. He would participate in several semi-professional barnstorming games, playing interracial exhibition games. The newly formed Negro American League happened, and Memphis signed him, the Memphis Red Sox. But then the following year, he had his contract sold to the Kansas City Monarchs. His batting average was decent, .288 career-wise between 1937 and 1950. And had 4 300-plus seasons at the plate. He went to 2 Negro World Series, and winning one in 1942 for the Kansas City Monarchs, who were iconic. Anyway, his baseball career was interrupted because of World War II for a couple of years. He joined the Navy and served as an enlistment in a naval construction battalion in New Jersey. And then when the war was over, he went back to Kansas City. He was actually named manager of the Monarchs in 1948 and would play first base as regular through 1951. He would win 2 league titles with the Monarchs as manager. So yeah, 53 and 55, he did it. But the league had shrunk to fewer than 6 teams as baseball integrated. So his time with the Monarchs was fleeting and all that. In documented games, he's played 400 games with 11 home runs, 176 RBIs. Well, that's the documented games and all that. Yeah, he was 34 when he came back and played sparingly until he was 43. When the Monarchs were sold at the end of the 55 season, O'Neil decided to become a scout for the Chicago Cubs and actually signed Lou Brock to a pro baseball contract. Now, people forget that Lou Brock actually was Cubs property from 1960 to 64, and then was traded in May 1964 for the Cubs one of Ernie Broglio. And we all know how that ended up. So anyway, and he was sometimes credited with signing Ernie Banks to his first contract, but it wasn't. It was Cool Papa Bell. So anyway, O'Neil was actually Ernie Banks' manager when he was with the Monarchs. In 1962, he was named the first black coach in Major League history as the Cubs gave him that title. He was not assigned in-game based coaching duties and was not part of the college coaching system by the Cubs that had the Cubs play for different managers at different times between 1962 and 1965. And was not allowed to manage the team at all, the Cubs. After many years with the Cubs, he became a Kansas City scout in 1988. It was named Midwest Scout of the Year in 1988. He gained national prominence with his descriptions of the Negro Leagues as part of Ken Burns' 1994 documentary Baseball. So he did all that. O'Neill led the way in 1990 to establish the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City and was its honorary board chairman until his death. The University of Missouri Kansas City, UMKC, gave him an honorary doctorate of business administration. Anyway, he actually developed a relationship with Ichiro for a time. Ichiro would attend the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum alongside Buck O'Neill and seeked Buck's knowledge of the game when Mariners were in Kansas City. Ichiro would go on to say, "With Buck, I felt something big. The way he carried himself, you can see and tell and feel he loved this game." So anyway, he was actually a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame Veterans Committee from 1981 to 2000 and actually managed to get 6 Negro League players inducted between 1995 and 2001. He was nominated to a special Hall ballot for Negro League players in 2006, but would finish below the 9 votes to gain admission. O'Neill actually spoke at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony in 2006 for the Negro League players. So anyway, he did what he could and all that. So yeah, so the Kansas City T-Bones in the Northern League, like the minor league, signed a contract with him. Yeah, he would play in the Northern League All-Star game. Before the game, O'Neill was traded to Fargo Moorhead. It was listed as the starting shortstop, and drew an intentional walk and was replaced before actually playing in the field. And then he brought him back to the Fargo trade to Kansas City, made him to lead off the bottom of the inning, getting another intentional walk. And they claimed that O'Neill, at age 94 years, 8 months, and 5 days, would be by far the oldest player to be in a professional baseball game. 94 years old, wow. But that was an error, as the Northern League's Shellenberg Flyers had signed Ted Double Duty Radcliffe to a 1-game contract at age 96, and he was a pitcher for them. He was one of the legendary Negro League guys, Radcliffe was. So the claim was invented that he was the oldest player to make a plate appearance. Kansas City would actually retire his number in 2006. And then the team rebranded itself as the Kansas City Monarchs as a salute to the franchise. On August 5, 2006, he was admitted to a Kansas City hospital after complaining that he did not feel well. He was admitted for fatigue and was readmitted. He was released, but then was readmitted September 17th, and they said O'Neill's condition had worsened. So on October 6, 2006, he died at the age of 94 due to heart failure and bone marrow cancer, which was shocking because he died just a few months after making his appearance in that Northern League All-Star game. During the opening day broadcast of the 2007 Royals, Joe Morgan announced that the Royals would honor Buck O'Neill by placing a fan in the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat. So anyway, the seat is in section 101 and painted red and all that. So the legacy seat. It was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of the Field by George Bush, which is the highest honor a civilian can do for its country. All that. And got the Beacon of Life Award too. So anyway, in the Baseball Hall of Fame, November 2021, on the final ballot of 10 candidates for consideration by the Early Days Committee, he needed 12 out of 16 votes. Fortunately, though, O'Neill got 13 votes. So he did it. He got inducted to the Hall of Fame formally July 2022. Finally, he got what he wanted. And that is a trip to Cooperstown to be immortalized forever. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.